Can you make air dry clay waterproof? This is a question I often get. So in this video, I'll try 3 different sealers and put my clay sculpts to the test by seeing how well they hold up underwater.
For this experiment, I'm using Des air dry clay, which I'm casting into a silicone mold to get 4 identical pieces. If you'd like to know more about casting clay from molds, then please let me know in the comments and I can include that in a future video. I've let the clay fully dry and now I'm ready to apply my sealers. 3 of them will get a sealer and 1 will act as my control group. On sample number 1, I'm using Podge but with a twist. Podge is water-based and non-toxic and can be used both as a glue and as a sealer. It comes in different types such as matte or shiny and one type which is designed to be used outdoors. However, at the same time, the bottle states that it's not waterproof, so I'm not sure what to expect. On sample number 2, I'm using Montana Spray Varnish. This is an acrylic-based sealer, which sounds pretty innocent, but I promise you it still has a bunch of chemicals in it. But the advantage of using a spray is that you're sure not to get any brush marks on your object. This brand also claims to be suitable for outdoor use and offers UV protection to avoid painted objects from fainting. On sample number 3, I'm applying Shellac. Shellac is a type of resin that comes from insects. You can buy it raw in the form of flakes, but it usually comes pre-mixed with a solvent and is commonly used to seal and polish wood. A traditional shellac tends to give a yellow stain, so I'm specifically using a white shellac for this project. Gloves and masks should be worn due to the solvent, but after it has dried, it is fine to touch. And it dries pretty quickly due to the solvent evaporating, meaning it's easy to apply multiple layers without much waiting time. I'm also going to include a 4th sample just to act as my control group. This piece is completely raw and with no sealer. This is what the 4 samples look like after they've been sealed, but before testing them with water. Sample number 1 with Podge looks very shiny. The sealer feels quite thick, and when the light catches, you can see the brush marks quite clearly. Sample number 2 with Spray Varnish looks super matte, and you can't see the sealer at all. The reason the number here is smudged is because I rubbed my hand in it when writing, so not because of the sealer in case you were wondering. Sample number 3 with Shellac is also matte, but has a slight stain to it, which could alter your color somewhat if applying the sealer on top of paint. Sample number 4 without sealer is just as is, matte and raw, and actually it looks identical to sample number 2. Now before I give them the full plunge, let's see how they hold up with a simple squirt of water. Sample 1 is handling it pretty well. The water is beating up on the surface without soaking in. Same thing seems to be happening to sample number 2, so far so good. On the shellac sample, the water spreads more like an even coat, but still doesn't seem to be absorbed. And for a clear comparison, on a control sample of raw air dry clay, the water instantly starts to soak in and reactivate the surface of the clay. You can even see a slight white residue on my hands. Next, it's time to go all the way and put the air dry clay through the ultimate water stress test. I thought about leaving them outside in the wet Danish weather for a month, but figured it would be faster and more simple to just dunk them in a glass of water. After a couple of hours, I'm fishing up sample number 1. And this has actually held up pretty well. It doesn't seem to have absorbed any water at all. The sample is still firm and it has maintained its original shape. Sample number 2 is not quite so lucky. It's completely swollen with water and all the details are washed out. And the suckiness just keeps on going. Sample number 3 with shellac is almost identical to number 2, just one big soggy mess. Sample number 4, my control sample without any sealer, is almost impossible to pick up. It's completely disintegrated. I really didn't expect such an extreme contrast, but it's clear that there is a winner. Though all 3 sealers could handle being sprayed with water, only sample number 1 with mud Podge exterior survived the full plunge. And I'm quite impressed with how well it survived actually. The only downside I felt was that the sealer was so thick and shiny that cosmetically it would alter the surface of a sculpture a little bit. But all in all, it's a small price to pay in return for the ability to waterproof your air-dry clay sculptures. Despite the good result, there are other materials that are better suited for creating waterproof sculptures. If you, for instance, want to create a permanent outdoor sculpture, I would recommend a fibrous, sculptable concrete such as Podge. I plan to do a video on this product in the future, but in the meantime, if you want to learn more about air-dry clay, I recommend you watch this video next. Bye!